The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is March 6, 2019. And this week, Moon included and Zucks 180. My name is Basil.
And this is Gonz. Welcome to the podcast where we bring you other news with Canary Cry Views.
That's right, and we're back together again, Gonz. Nice to be back in the studio of Earth with you. And first of all, we put out a request a while back for some Flippy update jingles, and Gonz, I want to jump right into this. We had some people actually participate, and I'm so excited for that. And You know what? This is something that we're gonna wanna encourage a little bit more because it's
explore and expand.
Yeah, so whenever we get a new segment or something, we're gonna need to put the call out for jingles because we made the call and you guys answered.
Okay, and I know we got one from B-Dub and one from Jonathan. And actually, I don't know which one is which in my little soundboard because they both labeled their file Flippy Update.
Well, that was very nice of them to do.
So here's one of them. I believe this is Jonathan.
Do you want fries with that?
Very good. Very good Flippy Update jingle. Throwing back to the original Flippy
concept.
Our favorite fast food robot cook.
Yeah. This one is by B-Dub.
It's Flippy!
Flippy Update.
That's right. It's got a kind of a jazz feel. Kind of just turned it on and went for it. I like it. I like the spirit. I like the result.
The robot, the auto-tune on the voice.
Yes.
Nice touch.
And we liked them both so much that we wanted to play them both here on the show. And then Gonzi did a little remix.
Well, I go into the lab. I create hybrids is what I do now. So I mixed the two together.
Okay.
Flippy Update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's very good. I like it. It's a little bit shorter because we need short jingles.
Yeah.
And we get a little bit from everybody. I'm glad we got to include our two I think they're technically producers now. If we're going to borrow that parlance from a very good show, No Agenda. These guys, they're technically producers of the show.
Yeah.
Wow.
Contributing
good job
to the podcast.
There you go. So we're going to put the call out there for jingles every once in a while, and we encourage everybody who has the skills, the talent, and the time on their hands to participate in that. And now that you played the jingle, Gonz.
Oh, I thought we were going to do it officially.
Okay, that's what I'm doing.
Oh, okay.
It's time for a Flippy Update.
Okay.
Flippy Update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right. This Flippy Update comes from Forbes.com, and it is called Canada Makes a Risky Bet on Giant Robot Arm, which might be my favorite headline I've ever read.
I like it.
Excuse me. A little coffee burp there for everybody.
Your body got really excited. Your belly is pumped.
So I'm not going to read much here, but here you go. Canada is planning on a 1.5 billion USD investment in the coming 2 decades based on a risky bet that NASA will continue with its planned Lunar Gateway space station in the 2020s. Late last week, the country announced it would contribute to a robotic arm called Canada Arm 3 to Gateway. I've never heard of Canada Arm 1 or 2, but 3 promises to be a giant Nephilim-sized flippy arm that will assist in the Lunar Gateway space station, which we've mentioned before and haven't talked too much about because it's all quite hush-hush and kind of imaginary at this point. But as plans continue for Lunar Gateway space station, we'll be talking about that much more in the coming years, I'm sure.
Hang on 1 second.
Okay.
You can keep going. I have somebody at the door.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Go get your Amazon package. So there you go. Canada jumping in the lunar space station game early. And it's interesting because this article says here, we just wanted to basically commit our giant robot arm to the space station, even though we know it's not a real thing yet. But we hope that us donating this robot arm will inspire the process of creating Lunar Gateway. And so they're just trying to push the thing along with their giant robot arm. So that's very nice of you. Thank you, Canada.
I think
as an envoy for my country, I graciously accept your gift of a giant robot arm.
Well, it's millions of dollars there. But yeah, I think I've mentioned in the past, either on the podcast or on the extended report, this idea of gateway. Why would they call it a gateway? Maybe it really is a gateway to the other side of the thing, as a foreshadow to an earlier or later article. But one thing I've kind of thought about is these robot arms. Why don't they create like using like fiber optics or something, like robot arm muscles? So they're like a little bit more sturdy.
Yeah, well, that's interesting you say that, because there's a lot of work going on that. And we actually we did not include an article this week, but there is an article out. You can find it in the aggregated collection of articles on canarycrynewstalk.com or flippyismybestfriend.com. They're actually experimenting with using spider silk to create muscles for robot arms.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but that's for a different show. So there you go. Canada getting in on the Flippy game as a nation, donating $1.5 billion to create Canada Arm 3, the most expensive Flippy as of yet in the Flippy family. And Gons, I was flipping around Twitter the other day. Well, not the other day. It was much more recent than that. And, I saw that somebody posted a nice piece of Flippy art that I enjoyed very much. And it had to do with what you've been working on.
Yeah. So this was posted by Cypher at his city. And basically hashtag AOD3. It was directed towards Face Like the Sun and Canary Cry Radio, Age of Deceit 3, The Mystery of Flippy. Every bot is an extension of the Hive. And he's got a little piece of, he's got a little picture here where a robot arm is serving soup to a line of, it looks like, I would say people that are in need, but they look like more
no, it's like a depression era thing.
Yeah, like the coats
it's a
and the
giant Flippy serving at the soup kitchen. And that's a throw to Age of Deceit 3, baby.
Yes. As of this recording, we are 24% processed after the upload, and this is the second attempt at the upload.
It's happening. AOD3 dropping as we speak. It's uploading as we record. It's very exciting.
Yep. So hopefully the internet doesn't break on my end, because I got to connect to you, Basil, and upload the film. This 24 gig.
Yeah, well, behemoth. We're multitasking. That's the podcaster's main skill set is multitasking.
One computer, several items in the other.
Yeah, when you have a very loud keyboard like me, everybody can hear me multitasking, furiously looking things up as I speak. Speaking of which, and we might need a jingle for this. This is a big We Told You So moment. We have many of these We Told You So moments after doing this for so many years.
Called it.
Oh, yeah, called it. I forgot about that one. VentureBeat.com. McAfee shows how deepfakes can circumvent security.
Cybersecurity.
What did I say?
Security.
Just regular security. Well, I consider it all security now. And the article reads, you can no longer believe what you see. Deep fakes, which use artificial intelligence to make people appear to say and do things in videos that they haven't said or done, have been growing more realistic at an alarming rate. And it's a matter of time before they're used to try to circumvent cybersecurity. Steve Grobman, Chief Technology Officer at cybersecurity firm McAfee, and Celeste Freilich, Chief Data Scientist, warned in a keynote speech at the RSA Security Conference in San Francisco that the tech has reached the point where you can barely tell with the naked eye whether a video is fake or real. They showed a video where Freilich's words were coming out of a video of Grobman's face, even though Grobman never said these words. The article goes on, but further down in the article, they mention how they didn't even work very hard on this video. They say, we kind of just made it over the weekend, and we didn't even try that hard, and it's pretty good. We could probably fool most people. And it's true. If you watch the video, we're not going to play it here because that's not how podcasts work. But it's very convincing. And, we've said since the beginning that deepfakes are going to be a huge cybersecurity risk, not just because of facial recognition and things like that, but you literally can't believe anything you see in a video anymore. I mean, and it's going to, here's the thing, it's going to take a long time for people to realize that. Mostly, well, let's just say on the topic of Trump, if you made a deepfake video of Trump, saying just the most outrageous, ridiculous things, even for him, whatever it is, I can't even think of an example, but whatever that might be, people are just going to love to jump on it. And the mainstream, especially, and when I say the mainstream, I just mean basically people who don't listen to this show and shows like this, who aren't aware of the dangers of
which
deepfake.
is like most of the world, other than like this small bubble of people.
Most of the human population, minus a few thousands or tens of thousands. That's going to be a problem. Talk about fake news. This is going to be the apocalypse of fake news.
Yeah.
And so I say this just to our people. Keep your head on straight. If you can't believe everything you see in a video, which we should already know. But now, even if you see the person speaking the words, it's impossible to tell if it's real or not. But there you go. Now we have McAfee, one of the foremost voices in cybersecurity, agreeing. They finally got on board with Gons and I. It's about time. And we are still waiting for our consulting check.
And to clarify, this isn't John McAfee, but the company.
It's the firm. Okay. No, John McAfee's on a beach somewhere playing with some guns or something.
and shilling cryptos.
So cool.
But here's the other thing to think about too, because this, speaking or looking at it from a practical sort of marketing corporatism perspective, this pushes the desire, so to speak, of higher and higher resolution of TVs and cameras, because the higher the resolution, the more difficult it is to you can still, it's pretty realistic, but if you're talking about those high definition whatever levels they're at now, I don't know, like whatever K, 6K, 8K, whatever it is, it might be a little bit harder to fake some of that stuff, or at least there's a gap that's there.
Yeah, so maybe who knows? But nobody's doing that. Everybody's watching videos on their phones. There's ways to analyze this using ironically using AI and stuff like that. So it's not impossible to detect, but the average person has literally no possible way of detecting these, especially if somebody's really trying to fool people.
Yeah, that's true. I guess intention is a big equation, or a big part of the equation, but
yeah. So looking at the time here, Gons, you want to talk about the moon, or you want to talk about Zucky?
Ooh, let's, I could talk about the moon here. This is motherboard.com and this is motherboard.vice.com, and we need a jingle for anything space related. Maybe that's another call out there for some kind of space theme or space fake theme, or something like that. Okay. Earth's atmosphere stretches far beyond the moon, scientists find. Wait, what?
Madness.
What? I thought that there was no atmosphere out there, but okay. A group of researchers discovered that Earth's atmosphere extends almost twice the distance to the moon after analyzing data gathered in the 1990s. Which goes to another point. We're going to find out, I think, just later and later here, more data that is scraped up. We find out more about ourselves from the past. But anyway, the Earth's atmosphere stretches way past the moon, much further than previously believed, says a new study published in Space Physics. When the outermost portions of the atmosphere merge with outer space, it emits a cloud of hydrogen atoms called the geocorona. According to the authors of the study led by Igor Baliukin, of the Russian Space Research Institute, this layer of gas reaches 50 times the diameter of the planet.
Ah, dude, the Russians, we can't believe any of this.
Oh, man. This just kills the whole thing. This widens the reach of Earth's atmosphere roughly 330,000 miles, more than 6 times further past what was previously estimated by the Southwest Research Institute, and makes the moon almost a halfway point to where the outer reaches of the geocorona ends. The moon flies through Earth's atmosphere, says Igor Balyukin, lead author of the paper, presenting the results in ESA, that's European Space Agency press statement. The observations were captured by SOHO, that's the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, a satellite stationed roughly 930,000 miles from Earth's surface on the side of the planet that faces the sun. And they were made between 1996 and 1998, shortly after the satellite launched, when the SOHO satellite had a good vantage point to capture the ultraviolet image of the Earth's atmosphere using sensors that can map the geocorona. Quote, "We were not aware of it until we dusted off observations made over 2 decades ago," said Balyukin. The researchers stressed that data collected years ago could be used for new science. For example, they said the findings could have implications for researchers looking for other planets that have reservoirs of water. Planets that have hydrogen in their exospheres have a higher chance of having water on their surface. Scientists looking for exoplanets that might host liquid water, the key ingredient for life as we know it, could look for hydrogen in the planet's geocorona as a means to infer the presence of water. Earth is a great comparison model for this kind of study. Who knows? Maybe hydrogen vapors will be the secret to finding a planet to inhabit if we happen to need a new one. So basically, all that space mumbo jumbo to say, the flat earthers were right.
Well, let's not go that far. But yeah, well, I mean, this is a great nod to flat earthers because, the geocorona, which is not exactly Earth's atmosphere as we experience it, but, it's hydrogen atoms floating around, extends way past the moon on a certain sort of oval on the opposite side from the sun. And so the moon does cruise through the atmosphere, which, I mean, flat earthers have been saying it. The glass dome, the moon is here inside the atmosphere cruising around. Well, they also say that about the sun, though, but we can't give you that quite yet, but we'll get there. And so, yeah, there you go. I have, I don't frequent a whole lot of flat earth groups. Some people send me stuff still, and I'm very grateful for that, keeping me posted. But I wonder how this is going to be received. This is kind of a big one, I think. Or maybe not. Maybe I just think it is, and flat earthers don't really care. But I thought that was very interesting, especially because of, obviously all the problems with, we lost the technology to fly to the moon, and all the radiation belts and the blah, 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 blah. And well, if it's all in the atmosphere, baby.
I'm more interested
to do with that hydrogen.
I'm more interested in this idea that we're going to find another planet. They keep talking about like, we need to go to Mars, or we need to find another planet like Earth's. Like, what's the deal there? It goes. I think it feels like a Tower of Babel thing,
Yeah, we'll get there. We find planets all the time, but the thing that they just don't realize. They just don't say it. The articles never say like, "Oh yeah, we found this planet that might have water on it. It's only like 7 trillion light years away." Which is just impossible. There's no way we could get there. But anyway, so there you go. People, let us know what's up with this, flat earthers. Are you stoked on the atmosphere, the moon being in the atmosphere? Does this mean anything? Is this a I told you so moment? I don't know. Let us know. But Gons,
speaking of the beast system, beast system.
That's right. Speaking of the beast system, and one more, we got a 4 Horsemen update.
Oh, is that what that was?
That's why I wrote 4 Horsemen jingle in humongous letters on our notes and made it in bold and underlined.
That's probably why I should be on that page.
That is why you
transitions.
Should be on our notes. Come on now.
The 4 Horsemen of the Technocalypse.
Anytime you see the 4 horsemen, it's something special.
Yeah, there it is. Giant letters. Four horsemen jingle.
Giant underlined bold letters. Mark Zuckerberg, one of our favorite horsemen of the apocalypse. Technocalypse. Mark Zuckerberg. Thank you. Mark Zuckerberg believes Facebook's future is private messaging. Oh, he's suddenly super excited about private messaging. This is a recode.net article. It's been clear for years that Facebook values private messaging. Has it? It paid $19 billion for WhatsApp back in 2014, and its other standalone messaging service, Messenger, has more than 1.3 billion users. But CEO Mark Zuckerberg made it clear on Wednesday, March 6th, that private messaging isn't just important to Facebook's future, it is Facebook's future. In a lengthy post from Zuckerberg titled, quote, "A privacy-focused vision for social networking," end quote, he outlined that private messaging will soon be the most popular way that people interact on Facebook products. Quote, "As I think about the future of the internet, I believe a privacy-focused communications platform will become even more important than today's open platforms," end quote. Zuckerberg wrote, quote, "I expect future versions of Messenger and WhatsApp to become the main ways people communicate on the Facebook network. Let's spell it out clearly. That's an incredibly important acknowledgement and a move away from what has made Facebook a massive global powerhouse. It also comes at a time when Facebook is under investigation for issues related to its privacy practices, where user data was shared or stolen in ways Facebook and its users didn't anticipate. Facebook's core social network is not centered around private messaging. Neither is Instagram. Both products are about broadcasting your life to friends and family, at times connecting with strangers and even brands. Facebook's entire business is built on user profiles that include lasting information. What you're interested in, where you live, who your friends are, that's important information for personalizing Facebook and for supporting Facebook's highly targeted advertising business. Now, Zuckerberg plans to move away from that, at least eventually. In his post, he talked about why people like private networks and intimacy they provide. Quote, "People are more cautious of having a permanent record of what they've shared." Zuckerberg wrote, "I believe the future of communication will increasingly shift to private encrypted services where people can be confident in what they say to each other stays secure and their messages and content won't stick around forever. This is the future I hope we will bring about," end quote. Facebook, of course, is not well known for its work around privacy. The company has a reputation for playing fast and loose with its users' data and has been routinely criticized for it. Zuckerberg admitted that his focus on private communication may strike some as ironic. Oh, at least there's a little bit. His self-awareness protocols are running hot today.
I am not capable of hatred.
I understand many people don't think Facebook can or would even want to build this kind of privacy-focused platform. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, your algorithms have detected that properly. Because frankly, we don't currently have a strong reputation for building privacy-protected services.
No.
And we've historically focused on tools for more open sharing, he wrote. But we've repeatedly shown that we can evolve to build the services that people really want, including in private messaging and stories. Nobody wanted stories. Nobody cares about stories, Zucky. No matter what you think about Facebook's privacy record, the company is well positioned for this future. It owns WhatsApp, which has more than 1.5 billion monthly users and is already end-to-end encrypted. It also owns Messenger, which has 1.3 billion users as well, a number that hasn't been publicly updated since 2017. Also, this explains why Zuckerberg is suddenly thinking about connecting all of Facebook messaging services so that people can communicate between them. If he believes private messaging is the future, he'll want to be sure all of Facebook products can work in concert. Now, I'm not going to end this out. I keep talking about that. Zuckerberg admitted encryption will lead to trade-offs. Finding the ways to protect both privacy and safety is something societies have historically grappled with, he wrote. No, not really. Quote, "On balance, I believe working towards implementing end-to-end encryption for all private communications is the right thing to do." Yeah, okay, Zucky, but here's the problem. End-to-end encryptions does not include locking out the business who provides it, and that's your whole problem, okay? WhatsApp is encrypted end to end, but Facebook itself as a company still has access to those messages. And they keep talking about the Messenger app and how many users it has. But the problem is that every single thing you type into the Messenger app gets recorded and, stored, and Facebook uses it specifically to advertise to you. So no, I think when Zucky talks about private messaging, I think there's a little bit of discrepancy in what we consider private and what he considers private. That's the problem here. And on top of that, Gonzo, he lies constantly. They have several court cases going on right now, not about specifically privacy problems or whatever, specifically court cases about them lying to governments and people. So no, your biggest problem, Zeki, is not that we all don't think that you're capable of making a private service, is that we think you're lying when you say you've made something private. And that's something that you're going to have to work. The Bible says, a good reputation is better than riches and things like that, and a flock of camels or something. I forget the exact words, so forgive me. And your reputation just isn't there, buddy. We can't do it. And anybody listening to this, you need to keep that in mind. Anything that touches Facebook as a company is being used for some sort of profit for the company, which means no privacy for you. Do not be fooled.
It's private between the people.
Yeah, right. Privacy just means like, oh, you're not posting on a wall somewhere.
Exactly.
And the funny thing is he talks about merging WhatsApp and Messenger, which are just diametrically opposed as far as, the concepts between them. Yeah, WhatsApp is encrypted, which just means, people without the key can't hack your conversations.
Right.
Facebook still knows what you're saying. They held the encryption key. And Messenger is a horrible platform where every single thing that gets put into it is basically open and analyzed and put into advertising algorithms.
Yeah.
And so merging those two things is literally the worst possible thing I could imagine for both of those products.
A lot of what he said in his quotes sound like a well-curated, like just the like getting the temperament of the people and what they're upset about, and formulating it into a few sentences that
sounds
describe
like he has
concern or like relatability to the people. And
sounds like he has a massive treasure trove of artificially intelligent analyzed thoughts of 3 billion people or something that he gets to consolidate down into a speech made this morning.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, at this point, he's a cyborg. He is no longer human at this point.
Well,
the way
we've known that for a while.
Yeah, I know, but
Okay. All right.
Just more confirmation.
We've beat that dead horse and Gons. I'm way more excited to hear about your Nephilim update this morning.
Nephilim update.
Bible proves long lost city of Atlantis is in Israel. Researcher claims.
Oh.
SputnikNews.com. Reliable source.
Thanks, Russia.
A lot of Russian influence in this, this episode.
That's our world now.
A biblical researcher and writer believes the sunken city of Atlantis never disappeared and that its remains can still be found in the Holy Land.
Okay.
Ryan Pitterson, a researcher and writer who focuses on ancient Hebrew thought and theology, claims that there are certain links between Plato's tale of the lost city and of Atlantis, the lost city of Atlantis, and the stories of biblical giants known as the Nephilim.
Nephilim update. Nephilim update. Nephilim update.
Well, there you go, folks. Head on over to patreon.com. You can get access to our extended reports. Go do it. It's going to be great. And this week, we're going to be talking about all sorts of fun stuff. We're going to be talking about some nature and some topological materials. What's that? I don't know. Come figure it out. And also a Japanese temple worshiping a cyberpunk robot goddess. So that'll be fun. And then we'll have a little update on the Chinese CRISPR problems. So head on over to patreon.com/CCNT. You can support the show entirely listener supported and get a bunch of fun rewards. So do that. And if you got friends who are still locked in the chamber of the mainstream media, not looking deeper, checking out the things that are going on that are important for our future, you need to tell them. Listen to Canary Cry Radio. Go on out there and rattle some cages.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
As a matter of fact, I find it oddly amusing.
That's right. We'll see you over on the extended report, everybody. That's patreon.com/CCNT. And remember to tune in next week. But until then, think outside the cage.